Hey, my friend, welcome in. You found Heights Online. This is our online weekend countdown. So delighted to be wherever you are today. So jump in the chat, say hello, and let us know where you're bringing us out to today. I got a friend with me. I'm going to introduce you to him in just a minute, but right now he's going to sit awkwardly wondering what happens next. We got producer David up with us here, who's refusing to have his camera on. He's just doing his thing back there. We got our friend Rachel upstairs running our audio today, shadowing Justin. Big shout out to her. And most importantly, we have you. So if you're brand new to us and wondering what we are, who we are, let me give you a little bit of explanation. Then we're going to jump into conversation with this guy who keeps spilling coffee on his shirt. This is the second time that just happened again. This just shows you that we're just normal people that make lots of mistakes. So you're welcome here with us. It's full of mistakes. But anyway, in case you're wondering who are we, who are these people? So we are Heights Church. We're coming to you today from our Prescott location. We are live right now from our Prescott location. We are all about helping you live the life you were created for in Jesus. That is who we are. It motivates everything we do, including this gathering right here. So we're just kind of having some fun, enjoying, interacting as we set you up for our live worship gathering that's going on about a half hour from now at 10:30 Arizona time. In the meantime, we just hang out, enjoy, get to know you a little bit. You can find out more about who we are as a church. Just go to heightschurch.com/online. That's our space right here. And when you do that, you've got all kinds of ways to connect with us, including my personal favorite, and that is to jump in and join our email update list. So you get an update from me about once a week. And I just let you know all the things that are happening with Heights Online and ways you can connect with us. You can also download our Heights app, which is created by today's producer, David, and it is beautiful and amazing. It's a good resource for you. We'd love for you to download it. Of course, that's free. It's at heightschurch.com/online. And looking in the chat real quick, saying hi to some folks who are joining us today. We've got Yvette is here. Love having you. We got Lori TK, we got Diana King. She's our moderator today, part of our serve team in the chat. Diana, great to see you. I heard from her last night. She said you got to go check out Park Collective and love the service there. So Diana, love having you with us. We got friends from Baghdad in the chat. I got to see them on Friday, made a trip out to Baghdad. We got Tara there representing all of our Baghdad friends. Hello, Baghdad friends. Baghdad popping up as a neighborhood gathering for Heights Church out there in Baghdad. Love that that's happened here in the last few weeks, and we're celebrating that. We got Stephanie Jefferson joining us from Lebanon, and I happen to know that's not Lebanon, Tennessee, that's Lebanon, Middle East. Love having you with us here as well. We got Studio in the chat, and a bunch of other friends filing into. Cassandra's here to take prayer requests for you. We got Sherry as well, and Deborah, part of our Wednesday night crew. Abraham, part of our Wednesday night crew. All you folks filing in, love having you with us. Okay, I got someone I want you to meet. This is a person who's gotten very brave, person that let me know he's an introvert. And so time with me right now is just draining him. And that's why I had to get him this coffee to kind of boost his energy level. All joking aside, this is our friend Phil. Phil, welcome to Heights Online with that wonderful introduction.
Yeah, thank you. This is actually my first time at Heights. I just walked in and...
Yeah, it's amazing what people will do for free coffee.
Yeah.
Hey, could I interest you in a free cup of coffee? You just sit in this chair and drink it, and then this all
and you're online.
happened. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels great. I think it's super cool to do online ministry, especially coming off of 2020, and I think you guys are rocking it. And all of you out there, like, way to go. Awesome that you still want to be in church, even when you're online. I think that's great.
Yeah, and we're having a lot of fun with it. It's been cool to see this all kinds of connections and ways that God's using our online family. It goes beyond like the things you think of. For example, this is a true story. I just got an email this week from a gal who she's going through a pretty significant cancer battle right now. And so then for her, being out of the house, being around other people, it's kind of a medically dangerous situation, and she's felt isolated, and then she gets to be here with us and interact, and we get to pray with her and provider friendship, and so it's
Yeah.
been cool to be part of. And then hey, there's Sabrina saying hi as well. Okay, so Phil, this is literally our first conversation that we've ever had, which just shows this is actually really. I love this. I love talking to
It's a new day.
random introverts that are their will to live is being drained by this right now. It feels.
I'd like to think
inspiring.
of myself as a little more than a random introvert, but
No, but you've been around Heights. This is weird that we've actually never talked, because you've been around Heights for a minute now. I mean, to talk a little bit about just Heights and life and how you got all that connected.
So my wife and I moved here in 2020 in May, like everyone else did. And
wait, where from?
From Juneau, Alaska.
Okay, no kidding.
Yeah.
I've been out there to Juneau.
Yeah, it's great. It's
You gotta use an airplane to get there, or a boat.
Boat, plane, birth canal. Those are the only ways into town.
I didn't think of the third option. Thanks for pointing that out. They're a little bit different in Alaska, guys.
Yeah, right? So I was a tour bus driver. I drove for the cruise ships.
Wait, are you serious?
Serious. And then I worked on a commercial fishing boat, and I was a school counselor. Anyway, Southeast Alaska is not kind to a lot of marriages. It's very dark and rainy.
Yeah.
And so we started having kids. My wife was like, she's from Minnesota.
Okay.
And loves the sunshine.
So she was like, but snow and all that was cool. She's like, she's fine with the cold up there in Juneau.
Well, yeah. It's southeast, so it's not super cold like Minnesota, but it's very dark. There's no sun. So she's like, help, we need to go. So eventually I got the hint, and we moved here sight unseen. Neither of us had been here before. And
how in the world of all places?
Yeah, right. Well,
Prescott.
Arizona.
I mean, I get Arizona. You're like, hey, we dipping out of Alaska. We gotta go somewhere with some south and some sun.
Yeah. So I applied for a school counseling job in Flagstaff, kind of the year before everything went down for COVID, and actually got offered the job, but it just wasn't right timing for our family. So that put the area on the map. And then a job opened up here in Prescott at another school, and it was like, hey, let's
do
do it. Long story short.
That's a big move. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
You're
like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I feel like that's a huge move.
There's just a lot going on. Like, my mom had some health problems, and we were having our first-born daughter. So I don't know if you see my shirt. Like,
in fact, I was about to say.
I knew I was going to be online. So
Diana is right here saying, I love his girl dad shirt.
Right. So I have 3 beautiful daughters: Selah, Finola, and Penelope.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and they are, what's their ages?
So we have 3 under 3. Actually, Selah's birthday is coming up in, 3 days.
Okay, this week.
She'll be turning 3. But yeah, 3 under 3. So there's a lot of poop in our house.
Do you want to give a birthday? I'm going to move right past that. Do you want to find the poop emoji in the chat? If you're a parent with changing diapers right now.
It's real. The struggle
is real. Okay. Do you want to give a little birthday shout out
I would love
to your baby girl? Yeah, take a minute and
So Selah, her middle name's Rogue, like Rogue. So Selah Rogue, happy birthday! You are one of the most important things to me, and you might not even watch this until years down the road. But if you ever do come across it, know that I love you and I'm very proud of you.
Oh, this will be online this week. You can go back and find it.
So, yeah.
You could play this little. You want to sing like "Happy Birthday" to her?
I don't want to sing "Happy Birthday."
I mean, the opportunity's here. If you love your daughter.
I do, but I don't think they want to hear me sing "Happy Birthday."
Oh, I think they do.
I don't. I disagree.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, we got Dr. Ray's in the chat saying good morning. He says, I'm an introvert too, but I'm fighting it best I can. So look, there's hope.
Don't fight it, Ray.
No, Ray, fight that.
No.
Fight that inner struggle to hate people.
Being an introvert doesn't mean you can't talk to Owen. Just know that afterwards you're going to need to go into the woods and yell.
You're just going to curl up in a ball for a little bit, power down. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, it's funny. He always does that after we talk. I just thought it was him, but it's just half of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, you are a counselor.
I am a counselor. Yeah, I worked in the schools for a long time. I did 10 years, and then I don't know. Maybe I got burned out. There's just a lot of life changes. Things happen. I felt like God was calling me to do more private practice.
Okay.
So currently I do couples therapy and individual therapy. Okay. So you're actually being therapized right now.
Like you're helping me right now. Mm-hmm. This is perfect. Well, I was wondering, a lot of counselors that I know are like, say this whole introvert extrovert, like some of that's kind of like made up, like pseudo pseudo psychology.
Yeah, I think the takeaway, everyone's trying to make meaning of their life, and there's certain things that are connecting to people, and if it helps you make meaning of why you act the way you do, to consider yourself an introvert or extrovert, then great.
Okay.
But it's the same thing if people are like, men and women, they're just this way or this way. And I think there's certain differences for sure, but you can get into trouble if that's
it's like blanket,
the line.
like,
right.
oh,
yes,
my wife, she's a woman,
therefore, yeah.
That's a really good, that's how I do it. It's a really good path to go down for your marriage. It's very successful when you just tell your wife, hey, you're just a boilerplate female.
Yeah, people love to be told how they're thinking and feeling.
Yeah, well, you're just a woman, so that's
I'm sure
really... Okay, I'm going to ask you, because I got to take advantage of this counseling opportunity, I'm going to ask you a serious question here in a minute, and then I'll let you think about it, and then we're going to reset and welcome folks that are just joining us, so you have a minute. Question is, we got a holiday coming up. Okay, we got Easter. I don't know if you knew that was soon.
It's weird. I don't think of it as like a holiday. My mind goes holiday is like Valentine's Day or something. I hear the term holiday and I think commercial. Easter, I think spiritual, right? Yeah. Anyway,
you don't really celebrate Jesus' resurrection. That was what I took away from that.
Of course, there's celebration, but it's not. I don't think holiday like.
So where I was trying to go with it.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. Way to derail. That's fine. No, I'm thinking family gatherings.
Yes.
And someone like you experience helping people navigate or see a lot of family drama like unfold. You've had a lot of reps inside family drama. Maybe a tip or two for our online family on like, hey, here's how you navigate some, maybe extended family drama. A little bit, like over a family gathering like Easter. I'm going to let you think about it while I say hi to folks. See, I'm giving I'm giving you a minute there. So there you go. So stick around for that. That's a cliffhanger. That's what we call a cliffhanger. But to say hi to everybody that's just joining us, and if you're brand new with us and you are just now coming in, I want to say a big welcome to you. Also want to say a big welcome to, I know that we have a lot of folks with us that for whatever, are not able to join us in the chat. And that I just want to make sure you are welcome too. I was just out in Baghdad recently saying hi to folks, and they mentioned things like, hey, they join us for church. Maybe they've got their phones on while they're going about their business or while they're working. So if that's you, I just wanted a special welcome to you and just say we know you're there and we love being part of your Sunday. Also want to say hi to folks in the chat right now. We got Kat joining us. Kat is back in the chat. Kat in the chat. We got Dennis with us and all of our Paulden friends. Want to say a special welcome to you guys out in Paulden. Sabrina is with us. She has a daughter, same birthday as your daughter.
That's awesome.
So there you go. That's very fun. And happy birthday to Chloe here this week too. You could come on next week, Sabrina, and give her a birthday shout out if you want. And then we've got, like I mentioned before, we got Cassandra in the chat just welcoming you to drop your prayer requests in there. If you'd like to let us know what's going on in your life and how we can pray for you, Cassandra's there to grab those and keep those, pass them on to our team of pastors and our prayer team. So just want to let you know that we're here to connect with you. Also want to let you know a couple other ways you can connect real quick as you jump in with us. The easiest way to do it is simply go to our website, heightschurch.com/online. And when you're there, you can request prayer. You can actually join our online serve team family like Diana is doing today. You can also, and Richard and Cassandra as well, you can also join our online email update list, which keeps you in the loop on everything going on online, including our plans for Easter. I'm going to send an email out this week with our Easter online plans. So if you want to know more about what we're doing for Easter and how we're celebrating as an online family, jump into that list. All right, so with that, I got my friend Phil with us. Phil is actually part of our worship team today. We haven't even talked about music, because I found out he's a counselor, so I'm just, trying. He's out here solving my problems, which I know counselors tend to love that when they get like roped into free, dishing out some free advice.
Everybody loves giving free advice.
So thanks for being here and dispensing free advice. We will talk about music in a minute.
Sure.
But putting you on the spot a little bit. But
yeah.
we do you have any here we are. Let's say I'm a believer. I want to represent Jesus in my family well. I want to be a person that brings peace and not cause conflict. You have any thoughts, like a tip or two, on how we might do that in a holiday or family gathering like Easter may be coming up for some of us?
Yeah. That's a great question. So I think a lot of times in the church we go, I have Jesus. Why aren't I better? Why isn't my family better? And like there's that line between salvation and we have that and we have him, but we also need skills. We need to learn. And so the most important thing you can do today, if you want to improve your relationships, is to listen. The greatest gift you can give someone is to listen to them and to truly listen to understand them, not to try to manipulate so that they'll understand you. That starts today. So the problem we get into is we start interpreting other people's actions. My wife's texting because she doesn't care about me. She's not interested in being with me. We don't know that until we ask, until we listen. So right now, today, it's not too late to really, truly listen to someone. Make sure that you're understanding what they're actually saying and why and where they're coming from.
Man, that's great insight. Yeah, because you try to assign motives to people. You see actions, and then you're like, why? And then I don't know, a lot of us, by default, assume the worst, or let it somehow, they're like trying to attack us or make us uncomfortable or manipulate, and maybe it's just a misunderstanding.
It kind of boils down to, there's two assumptions. Either they're a jerk or I'm not good enough. And if you don't get to the truth and understand, because the truth is we're all sons and daughters of God, we're all, in the same, we're at the same table, right? Yeah. That's John's whole message.
Yeah.
And he's there for us. So you can't, you got to listen.
Good.
Really listen.
That's a great tip. Taking that away. Imagine if you got family, holidays can highlight, the realities of family, whatever that may be. Like really great celebration also can be some tension, there as well. And there's a good tip. Just listen.
And kids crave to be listened to. They just want to tell you whatever. They don't want you to judge them or give them advice, or they just want to know that you're present and hear them.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you for that. And that was worth the price of admission right there. Although, so someone has a little beef with you in the chat, just about how you don't celebrate Easter that much. So Michael and Haiti are like, hey, Easter should be the greater than Christmas because of the sacrifice Jesus gave for all of us.
100%. I don't hear the word holiday. I don't know if the word holiday is in the Bible. When I think of the word holiday, I think of commercialism, personally.
For sure.
That's my own lens.
I'm just here to instigate.
No, but you are 100% right. Easter should be a celebration, and I think that's why Heights does such a great job. Like the whole Watson Lake thing.
Oh yeah,
that's
we got
amazing.
a big party coming for Easter.
What a great outreach to everybody that they can come and be like, oh, this is Easter? It's not some dude in white robes holding a rabbit, It's we're here partying.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah. By the way, you'll hear more about it today. We have big plans for Easter if you're local, you're in Quad Cities area, or even if you're like in the valley, or I know like our Baghdad friends are all actually gonna pack up. They're gonna be here with us on Easter. Yeah. It's worth making the drive to come out and hang out. It is gonna be awesome. You're gonna be learning more about that here. I think today a little bit. It's also on our website. You go to heightschurch.com, and right there from the homepage, you can tap into all of our Easter info. There's Good Friday, there's sunrise service, and then our big party out at Watson Lake. So Michael and Haiti, you can come out and do it right. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Phil is part of our worship team today. So Phil, let's talk music a little bit.
Sure.
So what's your background with music? You're playing guitar today, is that right?
I think so.
I mean, is that? I hope. I don't know. That's what the little rundown said. I don't know, but David lies about people a lot, so I don't know.
I don't know. I think my brain is just wired musically. I'm one of those people that if I can hear music in different nature, or okay, here's the thing.
Okay.
If my windshield wipers don't line up with the song that's playing in my car, it bothers me.
Like if we're a little offbeat,
Yeah, that doesn't affect everybody, but that definitely I notice it. So
it's probably
music's-
diagnosable in some
right.
way.
Yeah,
but
I need
that's
to
okay.
I need to go check that out.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, music's always been a part of my life. I think the thing is God has like capped my musical talent to keep me humble, which is good because worship is not about the music. That's just a vehicle for connecting with God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm on guitar doing my thing, but like it's all about, is everyone else able to worship God? Is everyone else able to sense His presence and be there with Him? So
How did you first discover like that you were musical, in some way? Does that go way back?
way
for
back,
you?
I started with like cello, second grade or whatever, and then I moved on to trumpet, and then guitar kind of in high school too.
Okay.
So
Okay. And then you brought your guitar from Alaska?
brought the guitar. Yeah, I was originally from Washington State too, so all around. Then I got into like DJing, and I would do weddings.
Are you serious?
So that was a good musical thing too. And
I love that.
yeah.
That's awesome. So how long have you been part of the Heights kind of worship?
So early on, when my wife and I first moved here, we joined a small group over the summer that actually had Zach and Kaylee in it, and so we got to know them, and then kind of talking back and forth. Probably about a year later, it was like, hey, do you actually need people? And Zach and Kaylee said, yeah, we do. Like, just go ahead and audition. So probably 6 to 8 months ago now, joined. And
So some of us are not musical, and it's like this magical
I'll pray for
thing.
you.
I mean, it's it's a thing, but it's like people who aren't musical wonder like, what's it like to be able to express yourself in that way? Like you've got heart, emotion, and then you're able to bring that out through the strings of a guitar. Like that's kind of amazing. Well, what does that feel like?
that's a big question.
I'm here for the big questions. That's what I'm doing, Phil.
So, what does it feel? I think to be able to connect with other people worshiping the same God, there's no other thing like it. It's amazing. So whether you're playing an instrument or not, you're still part of something bigger than yourself. I'm gonna have to sit on that question. What does it feel like to play music? I
know that's a deep.
People write books about that. Like that's huge.
We're here for the deep questions. We appear shallow, but we're here for the deep. We're here for the deep questions.
Yeah.
The closest thing for me, like so,
it's an honor. Honestly, it's a privilege.
And connecting with everybody, like that's. I remember. So I spent a little bit of time like in radio, and early on, I worked at a Christian radio station.
Yeah.
And so it was a really cool feeling, like to hit go on a song, and you just know, like, hey, there's like 50,000 people that are all like jamming out to this song with me, like that. Like it's just like deep connection.
Yeah.
And like there's a thrill to it. It kind of gives you goosebumps.
That's why it's so special, because you can't quantify it. It's not a formula. It's more of an art, but it blends in between. And I don't know, like what are all the quotes about music? Like God uses music as a language to communicate.
Yeah. All right, let me get you out of here on this one because you got to go get yourself
I
ready.
Go do music, right?
What's any little preview for our worship set today? That I don't want you to reveal all the secrets, but any like a favorite moment that's coming up for you, maybe in our worship set.
Zach and I were talking about the different songs, like what are songs that are new and engaging, but also what are songs that are timeless. And I think there's a few songs that are more timeless that we're just going to be able to, you know them well enough that you don't have to focus on the screen. You can just sing and worship.
Beautiful. So, man, that makes me look forward to it. And that's coming up here in, about 5 minutes from now. So we got to let you get out of here. Thanks for being brave.
Of course.
Please go curl
Thanks
up
for
in
the
a ball
coffee.
in the woods after this and recharge those introvert batteries for us. And
Thank you.
But truly, thanks for being
Of course.
being a good sport and being brave and jumping on.
Goodbye
Come back
to everyone
sometime.
out there.
We'd love to have you back.
Alrighty.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you,
Bye.
Phil.
Thanks.
There he goes, guys. Phil Merrill playing guitar for us today, part of a worship team. He's on his way out right there with his coffee, and we are thankful he was able to join us. If you're just joining us, we're our Heights Church. We're out here in Prescott, Arizona, and we are all about gathering together as a family to help you live the life you were created for in Jesus. We're about 5 minutes away from the start of our live worship gathering from here at our Prescott location. And just so you know, if you are in the Quad Cities area, we want you to, I just got somebody handing me something here. I can come serve in youth, which is a thing I can do. We have youth stuff. If you're local in the Quad Cities, you can come check all that out. Find out more about who we are. Go to our website, heightschurch.com. Real quick, as we get ready to get you set up to go inside here in just a minute, I want to do a couple of things. First of all, just want to say thank you so much for joining us. And if you don't know me, my name is Owen. I'm the online pastor here for Heights, and I am here to connect with you, not just in this space here on Sunday mornings, but throughout the week. Best way to do that is by first step, letting me know who you are and giving me a chance to reach out back to you. You can do that by signing up for our email update list. You can do that easily through our website. So pop open another tab if you're on your laptop or your computer. If you're watching on your smart TV, just pop open your phone, go to heightschurch.com, and when you get there, tap Heights Online. I'm looking at it right now, Heights Online, and then just tap on the button that says join our update list, and that'll get you into the kind of inner circle. You'll know what's happening next, and then you'll be able to connect with us, and then I'll be able to see you and say, hey, I know you, I recognize you. So that's one way to do it. When you do, you'll discover we have other ways to connect throughout the week. One of the ways that we're having fun with right now, in fact, Michael and Haiti were just mentioned this in their comment. We have a Wednesday gathering. That's just a time to get together, enjoy each other, and we open up the Bible a little bit and enjoy that too. Right now, we are working our way through the book of James with Francis Chan, and it's been amazing. So there are, a couple dozen folks who make their way out there every Wednesday night. It's entirely online, so you can join us wherever you are. It's Wednesdays at 6:30 to 7:30 Arizona time, and we're having a blast getting to know each other. So that's one way you can connect, and that you find out about that through the email update list I just mentioned. Another way we have to connect is coming up on Easter, and I want to save you a seat with our online family. We're going to all be sitting together on Easter out there at Watson Lake. So if you are around the area, or if you're just, like I say, driving distance and you want to jump in and join us, there's going to be an opportunity to do that. And I will let you know about that via our email update list this week as well. So those are reasons for you to jump in and join us. All right, we're getting set here. Just one more look at the chat. Say hello to some folks who are just now joining us. We see Michelle. Michelle, love you, my friend, and it's great to have you here. Tracy, back with us again today from Ohio. We love having you here, Tracy. It's great to see you. We've also got studio here in the chat. We got Kimmy. We got Kim. Talked to Kim on Friday out in Baghdad. You know what? Kim used to drive a massive haul truck at the Baghdad mine. And my boys got to see one of those trucks out there on Friday, and we were out there for our visit, and it was impressive. Okay, the truck, they're so huge that all the other trucks around them are like these giant, like Ford F-250 King Cap. They all have to have these like flags on their on the truck to kind of like a dune buggy would have, so that those giant like dump trucks don't run them over. That's how huge the dump trucks are. Kim drives one of those. She's amazing. It was super fascinating to be out there and hang out with the Baghdad team. So we got Peter, who's with us just now joining at home with the cold. We got Lori Hunt in the chat as well. We just love having you guys all file in. And guess what? With that, my friends, we got Jackie jumping in here near Abilene, Texas. I've been out to Abilene, Texas, and we love having you with us. Okay, with that, my friends, it's time to get started for worship. After today's gathering, after the message today, stick around. I got bonus conversation with me and our communicator today. It's also Communion Sunday today, so now's a good time to go grab yourself some communion supplies so you can join us and be part of that too. All right. With that, We're going inside. Turn up the volume. I'll see you on the flip side. For now, let's join everybody out there in H1. Glad you're with us.
Good morning, Heights family. Good morning to our online. How are we doing today? It's so good to be with you guys. My name is Kaylee. Would you guys stand to your feet? We're just going to start off today by declaring who God is. So let's sing these words with confidence today.
But he came and he died and he rose. Well, welcome everyone. Glad that you're here in the room, joining us online today. My name is David. I'm one of the elders here. And, following Jesus at times can be really difficult. And even when we come into a place like this where we're surrounded by people trying to follow Jesus as well, the truth is, hidden behind my smile or whatever you see on the outside can maybe be a life of devastation and loneliness. We don't know many times what's going on in the lives of people around us, even though we sit very close to them in a room like this, which is why Heights has life groups. Because the truth is, as John said recently, we need to be heart to heart with people. Maybe sitting in a circle in someone's living room, loving, listening, caring, supporting each other, because life's hard. And today's a day where our spring semester is getting ready to start, and you can sign up today for a life group in the lobby. Would love to invite you to do that because it's hard. Life's hard, and we need people to go along with us on this journey. Our life group has been a blessing to us for, 14 years I think we've been in our group. And these people know us. They know the struggles of parenting, of life, of health, and we live life together. And so that's what we're inviting you to do. Sign up today for life groups. Easter's just around the corner as well, a couple of weeks away. Last week we had a, hey, can you help us? A call to action. And about 150 people stepped up, and it's great. We still have about 350 more spots that need to be filled. Because that Easter weekend, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of different gatherings. On Friday night, up at the cross, we'll have a Good Friday service. Then early in the morning, while it's really frosty still, on Sunday morning at sunrise at the same cross, we'll be gathered again. And then at Watson Lake, us, along with 4,000 or 5,000 of our closest friends are going to gather. It takes a ton of people to park and to cook and to say hello and to greet. So all of those are opportunities, and we need your help. You can sign up online, or if you use the app. If you don't have access to those when you're in the lobby today, if you ask somebody with a lanyard on, part of the serve teams, they can help you figure out how do you volunteer, how do you get signed up to help us serve. Let's make much of Jesus on that resurrection day, and let's point people to Jesus, and a part of that's how we serve. So thanks in advance for how you're going to respond to that. Each week we gather and we sing songs like we just started with. We'll do some more in a moment, but we also spend some time in giving. So on the screen every week, just like today, is a reminder of how to give. For me and my family, we give online. So we just go into the portal and drop our donation. You can set it up, you can text, you can leave it in person in this room if that's what is best for you. The reason why we talk about it is because the mission that God gave us is to reach the planet, but primarily because we sit in this location in North Arizona. That's our immediate surroundings. So we're really focused on the people of Prescott and Prescott Valley and Chino and Paulden and Dewey and Humboldt. But then the rest of Northern Arizona, we feel a responsibility to reach. And we want you to be a part of that mission. We want the gospel to go around the globe, and that's why we have global partners. And it all is funded by how we give. And so we invite you again to be generous, to love God with your pocketbook, with your checking account. So we invite you into that as well. We're going to continue to sing. Ask that you stand, prepare your hearts, and let's love Jesus with our words as well. Would you join us?
We have this promise today that when we gather, God is with us. He tells us this, that when we gather, He is among us. Isn't that great? That He's here. So let's just sing about it. Let's welcome Him here into this place. Can't go back to the beginning. Can't control what tomorrow will bring. But I know here in the middle is the place where you promised to be. I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? All I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Sing this with us. I'm not enough. I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Sing that again. I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? Oh. 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? God, thank you that you're here with us. God, in our darkest moments, in our greatest moments, whatever we walked in with, God, you're here. God, you see us, you know us, you're with us. God, we thank you for that truth today. And I call, you answer. And you came to my rescue, and I wanna be where you are. I call, and I call, you answer. And you came to my rescue, and I just wanna be where you are. Come on, keep singing that. I call. When I call, you answer. And you came to my rescue, and I just wanna be where you are. Thank you, Lord. When I call, you answer. And you came to my rescue, and I just wanna be where you are. In my life, be lifted high. In my life, be lifted high. In our world, be lifted high. In our love, be lifted high. Would you make this your prayer today? Come on, sing it loud. In my life, be lifted high. In my life, be lifted high. In our world, won't you be lifted high? In our love, be lifted high. Higher and higher. In my just wanna be where you are.
We worship you, Father. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. Beautiful you are. There's no other name. Jesus. Death could not hold you. They'll tear before you. You silence the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring, the praise of your glory. For you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus.
God, we thank you for this truth today. God, we thank you that you have no rival, you have no equal. God, you are matchless in every way. God, we are gathered here to worship you, to adore you, to bring you honor and praise with our lives, with our words. God, I pray today that, Lord, when we call, when we cry out to you, Lord, that we would feel your presence. God, that we would know and trust that you are with us. God, I do pray today that whatever we came in with, God, our hurts, our pains, our frustrations, our addictions, loneliness, God, whatever we came in with today, Lord, would we just have the kind of faith, God, that it takes. God, like the woman who reached out to touch the hem of your robe. God, who just believed that you were who you say that you are. God, would we believe that you are who you say you are? And God, that our healing would come because of that. God, because you are who you say you are, and we believe it. God, we need you so much today. Lord, I pray that, God, as we cry out, Lord, that we wouldn't be so concerned with getting our wants met, but God, getting our needs met by the provider, the one who can provide our needs. God, by the one that when he heals, he says things like, go and sin no more. God, would you do more in us, God, than you do around us? God, we need you in our hearts. We need you to change our thoughts, our actions, our words. God, our families. We're desperate for a touch from you today. So God, open our ears, open our eyes to what you're going to say. Bring us together in unified desire and passion for your word right now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You can have a seat.
Well, morning, church. Morning to those of you online. Our Paulden location is out there. Can we cheer for Paulden this morning? We have, and I got to clarify, we have Baghdad, Arizona. Okay, so we had some questions like, wait, Baghdad? And we're like, yeah, the one in Arizona. Oh, I didn't know there was one. So Baghdad, Arizona's out there. Let's give them a cheer. And then for all of our online family, let's just say we love you. We can cheer for them. Man, you guys like lost energy as we went. Did you notice that? Like, we started out real strong and it's like, yay, one more. But we are glad you're with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys, we're just blessed to get to journey through life together. And I think I've just been reminded this week more than ever of what a privilege it is to walk together, to get to love each other. As you saw, we get to celebrate Easter together. Right? So that's worth cheering for. I'm just going to say, man, okay, hang on. Easter is coming, and that is worth cheering for. All right, there we go. If you are new to this space, you're like, why are we cheering? This is weird. Okay, hang on, right? Because here's what we believe. We believe that Jesus is the big deal. And so if you're looking for some like, hey, we're waiting to see what this church is really about, you just discovered it. We're about Jesus, and that's it. We don't got nothing else. There's no like secret 7 steps to help whatever coming. It's just not there. Like we've got Jesus, and that's what's changed us, and that's the big deal. So part of that is that Easter, we've been in this series called Nobody But Jesus, but at Easter, that tomb is empty. It is still empty, and we are going to celebrate that. And so what's super fun for us, you guys, is that we believe that that's worth throwing the biggest party for. And so we're going to collect the whole family, including Baghdad, Paulden, other people that are able to make it from our online family, this location, Prescott Valley location. We're going to collect all of us together at the park for nothing more than a family day in the park that's just a big party. And the way it starts is this. On Good Friday, you heard David say, but the cross, if you've never been there, up at the big cross out here, we'll have a Good Friday service, and the sun sets on us, and the church leaves in reflection. The next time we get together is sunrise, and if you haven't been there, the sun comes comes up right behind the cross. It's amazing. It's breathtaking. But we're just reminded early in the morning is when they went to the tomb and it was empty. And so the celebration begins then and there. And then we just roll that party right into Watson Lake. And Pastor Bob, those of you who know Pastor Bob, he's like, okay, so I could hear the speakers at my house at 6:30 Sunday morning last year. And so I'm assuming all my neighbors could for where he lives. And here's the thing, why? Because it's a party worth celebrating. And you're invited. Your friends are invited. Your neighbors are invited, right? And this is worth celebrating together. If you've been with us, we are in a series called Nobody But Jesus. And here's kind of the premise behind it. Let's catch you up, that there are things that nobody but Jesus could do. Nobody but Jesus could take the entire punishment of the entire world, so to speak, all of humanity on himself, conquer death, walk out alive after, leave the tomb empty. Nobody but Jesus is doing that, right? And this series is kind of catching those things, like nobody but Jesus can heal the way he did. And nobody but Jesus, and we'll discover today, gave us the meal the way he did. I love how God provides for us. I'll be really honest with you. It has been a week in my world. And part of that has just been moments of being overwhelmed, moments of just crying out, moments of just like, God, I don't know how. And yet God's met every step of the way. And he prepares in advance. You love that about God? Like 4 weeks ago, God came up to me through someone else at Park Collective, and they handed me a bag. And I was like, well, that's weird, because they didn't say anything about the bag. They're like, here, you're just supposed to have this. I was like, okay, right? And so it's one of those where you open it and you're like, I don't know what's in here, but I'm a little nervous. And I opened it up and there was 3 books. And so I'm like, and I'm this kind of guy, I'm like, okay, so what are they trying to tell me? What do I not know, right? And so, but these 3 books, I put them where I have books that I want to read, and the one on top was on communion. And the Lord knew that today we would be doing an entire message on communion. And I took this book and I read it and I go, it's really brilliant. It's just a short little book by N.T. Wright. And so a lot of what you're going to hear today, I just want to be honest with you. I'm not this smart. N.T. Wright is way smarter than me. And so some of this is taken straight out of that. And yet it's this beautiful moment where we get to have a meal together today. I don't know, it's kind of framing up this whole idea of a meal and what it represents. If you've ever been to a birthday party in your life, like ever, birthday parties are pretty special, right? And I got one coming up in about a month and a half. My I call her the bug, but my bug turns 10, and we will have a party, right? Because that's what you do for 10-year-olds. And so if you can imagine, just project the future with me, right? The house is, we're having a meal together. There's, why? Because we're in party mode, right? It's birthday party mode. And so there's people, there's cake, there's streamers, there's hats, there's, those confetti things that you pull that make everybody jump. There's those things. And so all of this is happening. And I want you to imagine the house is full, and then we hear a knock at the door. And at the door, it's a Martian, right? And so we're like, come on in. And the Martian's like, okay. And as the Martian enters, he goes, why are all these people here? Oh, we're just having a celebration meal. Okay, what are we celebrating? Well, you see that one over there, the one I call the bug? She's 10 today. So we're celebrating her birthday. And the Martian goes, wait, it's her birthday? She was born on this day? Well, kind of, but 10 years ago, right? Like, so yes, I'm from a really? Then why are you celebrating her birthday? Why don't you call it something? Well, because it's her birthday. That's what we're doing, right? Why does everybody have those funny hats on? Well, because she's special. And we want to make her feel like she's special. Well, is she not special every day? Well, yeah, but today she's extra special. Why is she extra special? Well, it's her birthday. But she wasn't born today. Well, you'll get it. Just keep going, right? And then you get to the point where, okay, you got special foods. Why are we eating these foods? Because this is what she likes. Why are we doing this? Because she's special. Well, is not everybody special? Don't they like foods too? Yeah, but we're all going to eat what she likes today. Why? Because it's her birthday, not ours. And you can imagine the Martian's like, I don't get this. This doesn't make sense to me. And then there's a moment where you take the cake and you start to light candles, and the Martian goes, why are you setting the cake on fire, right? And the honest answer is, I don't know. This is just what we do to celebrate birthdays. And then there's a moment where the bug, she pauses and everybody goes quiet, right? And then she blows out the candles. And the Martian goes, why did she pause? Well, she's making a wish. A wish, what's that about? Well, it's about her future. It's about what's ahead. And as you go through this meal, what you begin to realize is that we have celebrations in our life. And what the celebrations do is they pull the past, right? We take this past and we pull it forward, right? We take this idea of this was the day she was born. This is her origin story. This is significant to who she is. And we pull that moment into the present, right? And we're celebrating in the present like that day is here. We're remembering that day here. But we're also pulling the future into this moment. We're also taking the future and going hopes and dreams, and we hope this is the best year ever, and we're pulling that. And so what happens is in this simple birthday celebration, you have the past, the present, and the future all pulled together into one. And it's this beautiful celebration that anchors my bug inside of who she is, where she belongs, this family. And it reminds her and points her forward to a future that's ahead. And this is very similar to what we got when we talk about this idea of communion and this meal that Jesus left us. In Luke chapter 22, we're going to read quite a few verses, so just go with it. We've got to set the context for where we're heading. But in Luke 22:1, it says this, "Now the festival of unleavened bread, called the Passover, was approaching. And the chief priests and the teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people. Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. And Judas went to the chief priests and the officers of the temple guard and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. They were delighted and agreed to give him money. He consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present. Then came the day of unleavened bread, on which the Passover lamb had to be sacrificed. Jesus sent Peter and John, saying, 'Go, make preparations for us to eat the Passover.' 'Where do you want us to prepare for it?' they asked. He replied, 'As you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters, and say to the owner of the house, the teacher asks, where is the guest room where I may eat the Passover with my disciples? He will show you a large room upstairs, all furnished. Make preparations there.' They left and found things just as Jesus had told them, so they prepared the Passover. When the hour came, Jesus and his apostles reclined at the table. And he said to them, 'I have eagerly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I tell you, I will not eat it again until it finds its fulfillment in the kingdom of God.' After taking the cup, he gave thanks and said, 'Take this and divide it among you, for I tell you, I will not drink again from the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes.' And he took the bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and gave it to them, saying, 'This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me.' In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, 'This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you. But the hand of him who is going to betray me is with mine on the table. The Son of Man will go as it has been decreed, but woe to the man who betrays him.' They began to question among themselves which of them it might be who would do this." So the context we step into is that Jesus is making preparations. He sent two of his boys on ahead, so to speak, to make preparations for this meal called Passover. So to truly understand what's taking place, we've got to step back and go, okay, what was it about Passover? What was it about this meal that was originally intended? And so if you were part of that community at that time, you were part of the Israelite community, and you were a part of a Jewish family, what would happen is every single year at the exact same time, kind of like a birthday, you would have a meal to celebrate what God had done. And what this meal specifically did was it was designed to take you back to a time in Israel's history where during that time they were slaves in Egypt, and it takes you back to a specific night when the angel of death came over the Egyptians and they lost their firstborn son. But when it came over the Israelites, they didn't, because they obeyed God and put the blood on the door. And anywhere the blood was found, the angel passed over. And so what happens is after that moment, Pharaoh goes, get out of here, go. And the Israelites begin a journey with God as the people of God. They begin this journey outward as a nation. So what this night was and what this meal was, it was significant to anchor them in their past. And so when you would get to the Passover meal, even the way you sat at the table was telling you something about the story of this journey with God when he freed you from the Israelites. So for example, you heard in that text we just read that when Jesus' disciples got around the table for the Passover meal, they reclined at the table. That posture of reclining at the table was significant because what they were saying with their very posture was, we are free people. We are no longer slaves like we were back in Egypt. They're making a statement with their body. There's four different types of wine on the table. And as they drink wine in a reclined posture, what they're saying is, we're the free ones because slaves had to stand. Only those that were free got to sit at the table and recline at the table. So every year, on this date, on the calendar, here's the nation of Israel preparing, excited for this Passover meal. It was a huge deal. And what would happen at Passover is they would be reminded of when God rescued us. They'd be reminded that we are free. They would have things like bitter herbs. And the idea behind the bitter herbs were just that, hey, there was so much sorrow in Egypt that we don't have to go through anymore because we have been rescued and redeemed by God. And so when Jesus sits down, he's sitting down to have this meal. Part of this meal was, okay, now as we project to the future, the Messiah is coming, the promised one's coming. And so if you can imagine, generation after generation after generation would pause on this date on the calendar to go, we have to remember the Passover. Why? Because it reminds us we're free. It tells us who we were. We were slaves and now we're free. It reminds us of who we are. It reminds us that God is our Redeemer, and it points us towards a future hope that God has for us. Well, you can imagine then when Jesus gets to this meal and they're reclining around the table and there's expectations on Jesus, right? That he's going to break the bread this way and he's going to put it in the middle, which was symbolic of the parting of the Red Sea. And every piece of this meal that Jesus was going to do was going to remind them of the journey they had to freedom. And Jesus sits down and he takes bread and he breaks it and he goes, this is my body given for you. Which any good Jewish boy, any good Jewish person in the room should have got up and left. You are desecrating our celebration that tells us who we are. And then he takes a cup of wine and he goes, this is my blood and you're going to drink it. And at that point, the boys should have gone, okay, this rabbit hole's way too deep for us. We don't know where this is going. Jesus, this isn't how this meal goes. And then he makes a statement. He goes, this is my blood. Or he goes, take, drink. This is the new covenant in my blood. And he's declaring to them, this is a new contract between God. They were celebrating an old contract. This is what God said he would do. He would set them free. He would move them to the promised land, and he would give them the Messiah. Jesus is now declaring, hey, I'm the Messiah. I'm the one you've been looking for. The future is now. And in this moment, what he's declaring is there's a new covenant. There's a new way for humans to interact with God. And it's going to be on a relational basis. Now, fast forward to us. Because what you had when you walked in is you got prepackaged Jesus, right? You walked through the door and somebody handed you what we call a meal. And some of you were like, man, I was told about this meal. It's not a very good meal. You guys need to up your game when it comes to meals. But the idea is that you by what you hold in your hand, what you were given today, you're actually holding what we call a meal. Depending on the way you grew up and what your church background is, this gets called all different kinds of things, right? For the early believers that gathered around the table the first time, it was breaking of bread. Like, that's what they called it. If you are familiar with a different strand of Christianity, you probably have heard it called the thank you meal, right? And thank you in the original language is the word Eucharisto, which is where we get the word Eucharist. So if you grew up and you were given the Eucharist, or it was called or referred to as the thank you meal or Eucharist, that's the same meal. You may have grown up in a church like Heights where we call it Communion Sunday, right? And what communion means is it's the sharing meal. It means that we have one Jesus, we have one Lord and Savior, we have one Spirit, we have one God, and that God gave us a meal, and this one meal we will share with all of us. The picture we're given is that Jesus broke bread, and he took the cup, and it was divided amongst everybody there. So here's the beautiful thing. This meal that we've been invited to with all of us, who I'm guessing most of us are strangers to each other in some way, shape, or form, that we gather around a table, and what we're actually saying is we belong. Those on the online community, we're gathering today around a table that says that this Jesus is the one that centers us all together. He unites us into family. That's why we talk about family so much. And what this meal is it's a family celebration where we remember that we share in common this Jesus. But what I want you to catch is this, that when Jesus gave it to them, he said, hey, do this in remembrance of me. What was he actually saying to them? That what's about to happen is going to change everything. And I'm going to need you to remember what's about to happen. Now, fast forward to us, this many years later, right? And what do we get? We sit here and take this meal, and what's happening to us is we are being anchored into a story, into a moment in human history, into an event when a man died for everybody's sins, and that man was God, and he came out of the tomb alive. We're celebrating that because it's changed all of human history. That when you hold your wafer, that I'll be honest with you, it doesn't taste very good. You on the online, you way better off than us. You get to choose what you use. We get this wafer, right? But the wafer is so significant. Why? Because it's reminding me, it's taking me back to God was physically here. That God showed up on this planet. That God in his physical form took on my punishment and my sin. That he humbled himself to become human, as Philippians talks about. And it's this beautiful moment that I'm anchored into his death, his burial, and his resurrection. But wait, John, that's an event back there, but it's informing in the present who I am. Because in the present, you know who you are. You're forgiven completely. Your debt is paid between you and God. You have no more grace to ask for because you've been given grace upon grace, as the Bible talks about. That your sins are remembered no more. Why? Because of that event, in that moment, and in this moment, it tells me I am forgiven and I am free. I get to recline at the table. But it also does something else. In Corinthians, Paul's writing to the church in Corinth. And as Paul's writing, he's addressing some things, but he's also giving a little commentary. So in 1 Corinthians 11:23, he says, "For I received from the Lord what I also passed on to you. The Lord Jesus, on the night he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, 'This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me.' In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, 'This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it in remembrance of me.'" And then here's Paul's kind of summation. "For whenever you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes." And you thought you were just going to church today. And you thought it was just going to be this, I get my little snack pack Jesus and we'll do that as part of our ritual. Can I tell you that when you step into communion today, You are anchoring with an empty tomb way back in your past. And you are declaring that tomb is empty for me because my sin needed to be paid for. And so in this moment, I'm free. I'm forgiven. I stand by grace and I'm in mercy. And what it means is that you're proclaiming in this moment, I'm going, and now what I'm telling the rest of the world, what I'm telling myself is that the Jesus is coming back. That there is a plan to all of this. That God is coming back and he's going to create a new heavens and a new earth. And guess what? In that new heavens and that new earth, there is no pain. There is no suffering. There are no tears. There is no mourning. There is no loss. There is no abandonment. Why? Because that event has informed my present and tells me what my future is. And when you sit with your elements today, guess what? You are proclaiming that story for yourself. You know what I love? You know what I love about communion? Jesus says, eat and drink. Have you ever drank something or eaten something that didn't sit well? And it feels like your whole body was affected by whatever you did? I think it's super significant that Jesus goes, eat and drink, because it permeates all of who you are. It's a picture. Depending on your church background, some churches go, well, it literally becomes Jesus, body and blood, right? And over here, it's like as far away as you can get from that. Can I just tell you what I know? I know that Jesus says, this is my body and this is my blood. And you need to take and eat. And why? Because it permeates all of you. It reminds you that Jesus has permeated every ounce of who you are. You are no longer who you used to be. And what it does in that moment, is you should walk out of here and what permeates into every area of your life? Jesus. Why? Because I've been reminded of who I am and where I am. But here, I was chatting with Pastor Todd about this idea of nobody but Jesus could give us a meal that captures our past, our present, and our future. And he said, but nobody but Jesus could invite who he invited. And we began to chat about that. At the beginning of this passage we read to start out, verse 3 says this, Luke 22:3, then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. And Judas went to the chief priests and officers of the temple guard and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. They were delighted and agreed to give him money. He consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present. What I want you to see is this, that in a meal that would change human history, nobody but Jesus invites an enemy to that table. Here's what I mean. Later in that passage in verse 21, it says this, but the hand of him who was going to betray me, this is Jesus speaking, the hand of him who is going to betray me is with mine on the table. Jesus invites an enemy. Here's why I say it's an enemy. The Satan entering Judas happens before the invitation and preparations to the table. Jesus invites an enemy, and then that language of his hand is with mine on the table. That is an intimacy language. That is friendship language. There wasn't a wall up. I invited him, but nobody talks to him. You know what I mean? I invited him, but he only gets half of what everybody else gets. I invited him, but he has to stand. No, catch it. Judas is reclining at the table with Jesus as an enemy. He is there proactively going, how can I trap this man and hand him over? And yet Jesus invites him to that table. Nobody but Jesus invites an enemy to the table. I'm not inviting enemies to my bug's birthday. Nobody but Jesus invites enemies today. Here's what I mean, because there's more to this. In Romans chapter 5, Romans chapter 5 verse 8 says this, but God demonstrates his own love for us. That's you. Just we got to change some pronouns. That's you. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this, while we, all inclusive we, were still sinners, Christ died for us. Since we have now been justified by his blood, how much more shall we be saved from God's wrath through him? For if, while we, that's all of us, were God's enemies. That word enemy is a personal enemy of God. While you were a personal enemy of God, we were reconciled to him. That word reconciled is made friends, restored relationship, put back how it was supposed to be. While all of us were personal enemies, God reconciled, made right our relationship. How? Through the death of his son. To him through the death of his son. How much more, having been reconciled, shall we be saved through his life? Not only is this so, but we also boast in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have now been reconciled. You realize the table we sit at, we were enemies. We were enemies when we got invited to the table. While we were still enemies. I love that we live in this point of human history, because we're looking back at an event, right? We see the event in front of us. We can see, we have more historical data to say that Jesus is who he was and his story is true than Abraham Lincoln. And we look at it and we go, the tomb is empty, which we will celebrate fully in a couple of weeks. But we look back. And what's amazing to me is before I knew who I was, I'm still figuring out who I am, right? But before I even knew this thing of existence, God was on a cross, bleeding that cross red with his own blood to take my sin and my punishment while I was an enemy. Why? To invite me to a table as a friend. I get to look back and see the love of God before I ever existed. Can we just level something real quick? We were all sinners. So don't play self-righteous. The ground is level at the cross. We all need Jesus. And I don't know if you're one of those that the longer you've been saved, the less you need Jesus because you're getting better. Can I tell you, you're not getting better. We need Jesus just as much. And what he gave us was a reminder. He took us to a table of intimacy, a table of friendship, where even when we didn't deserve it, we were invited. Even when we didn't understand it, we're invited. And at that table, he gave a meal. Because who else could give us a meal that would tie in our past, our present, and our future to unite all of us together as a family? And even invite enemies to become friends. There's nobody but Jesus. If you would find your way to the wafer. You'll never look at it the same, huh? I just want you to hold the weight. And we're going to reflect for a moment, but what I want you to hold is the weight of the meal that was given by Jesus himself. For who? For those who need it. For those who have stepped into this moment and gone, oh, I see who he is. Kind of like those people, for those of you that are familiar with the story on the road to Emmaus, Jesus talking with them for a while and they don't know who he is. And he finally sits down and breaks bread and their eyes are open. They go, oh, that's Jesus. My hope is that for this moment, you see Jesus in a fresh way today. As you gather around the table, you remind yourself of the proclamation of who you are and who he is. And you remind yourself of the future that's coming. Because it's good. It's so good. So the next moments are yours just to reflect, and then we'll take it all together. On the night that Jesus would be betrayed, he took bread, surrounded by his followers, dear friends, and even an enemy. And he broke the bread. And he said, "This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And he took a cup of wine and he divided it among them, uniting all of them together. And he said, "This cup is the new covenant, new contract between God and humans that only God could make. And it's in his blood that we are free, that we are forgiven, that we are restored, that we are reconciled, that we're no longer enemies." He said, "Take, drink, do this in remembrance of me." God, thank you so much for your love for us, for humanity. Thank you for this reminder of who we really are and who you really are. God, that while we were enemies, you died for us, you redeemed us, you restored us, you made us whole. God, thank you for loving us first. Thank you for being a God who is big enough and able to carry our cross, our sins, our punishment, our just deserves of judgment. And thank you that you conquered death, that we may have life, and life right now. God, thank you Thank you for the way that you, as only you can unite us in a moment that ties our past to this event that changed humanity, then our present with who we are today. And God, that you are leading us to a glorious future. Thank you that your blood still speaks today. Thank you for loving us unconditionally. Thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy that are abundant. We are grateful, grateful people. And everybody said, amen.
Amen. Would you stand and let's just say thank you to the Lord together by singing. Oh, the perfect Son of God, in all his innocence, here walking in the dirt with you and me. He knows what living is, he's acquainted with our grief. A man of sorrow, son of suffering. Oh, blood and tears, how can it be? There's a God who weeps, there's a God who bleeds. Oh, praise the one who would reach for me. Hallelujah to the Son of Suffering. Distant and removed, but you chased us down in merciful pursuit. To the sinner you were grace, and the broken you embraced. And in the end the proof is in your wound. Yes, in the end the proof is in your There's a God who bleeds. Oh, praise the one who would reach for me. Hallelujah to the Son of Suffering. Your cross is my freedom, your stripes are my healing. All praise, King Jesus, glory to God in heaven. Your blood is still speaking, your love is still reaching. All praise, King Jesus, glory to God forever. Your cross is my freedom, your stripes are my healing. All praise, King Jesus, glory to God in heaven. Your blood, it's still speaking, your love is still reaching. All praise, Oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us so. Would you sing that with us? And oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us so. And oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us so. Yeah, he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves. Yeah, he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves. Come on, sing that again. Yeah, he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves. He loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us. Amen. Can we thank him for his love today? Thank you guys so much for being here today. We're so glad that you were with us. We're praying for you. If you would like prayer today, there will be people down in front that would love to have a conversation and pray with whatever you're carrying today. Remember to sign up for life groups on your way out. Super important. No time like the present. So go ahead and do that and have a great week. We love you guys.
All right, my friend, and welcome once again as we wrap up an awesome day with you and our entire Heights family, coming to you live from our Prescott location today. I'm Owen, one of our pastors here for Heights, being joined right now by a man you hopefully recognize. This is John.
Hey,
and
buddy.
John, thanks for jumping in with us and leading us through a meaningful time around the table today for communion. And I want to talk more about that in a minute. But first, just want to let you know that if you are new or newer to us especially, just want to let you know we're Heights Church. We're out in Prescott, Arizona. You can reach out and connect with us in a number of ways. You can find out more about upcoming Easter gatherings if you're local with us. All that and much more, just go to our website, heightschurch.com. You can connect with our online family through that space as well. Just tap Heights Online. And when you do, you can join our email update list, and that'll give you ways to stay connected with us, including a little special gathering for our online fam out there at Watson Lake at Easter. And David, our producer today, just handed me this card, and I'm going to show you this here. This is something, if you'd like some of these to maybe, if you're local, you want to invite some friends and family, you let me know. Shoot me an email, and I'll make sure we get some of these into your hands. And so you can just shoot me an email. That's owen@heightschurch.com. We'll make sure you get some. Pass them out to friends and family. Have them join us. We got Good Friday. We got Sunrise. We got Easter at Watson. So
Man, who
hang out.
doesn't want to be at a barbecue at a park?
I mean, it's pretty legendary. It's not a small scale party. It's
No,
worth
it's-
the drive.
it's a
It's
party.
worth coming
It's
out
worth the
if you're
drive.
around. Come and hang out with us.
Got
It's
kayaks
worth
in
it.
the afternoon, I heard. We got
Kayaks.
stuff for your kids.
Oh, there's food. There's bounce
food.
house. That's right. Online
Yeah.
stuff. I was just out.
Pre-service stuff.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, and then
they
we
get
got
to meet you.
I mean, that's.
Come on.
Let's
That's what
be
I'm coming
honest.
for.
If you're ranking hamburgers, hot dogs, bounce house, and me, I'm definitely bottom of the list. But I'll go ahead and meet you too. But I was just out in Baghdad, hanging out with that High
Yeah.
Baghdad
Yeah.
on Friday, and they're all caravanning out here to be with us. So you
Are
get
you
to see all of
serious?
our Baghdad
Oh, that's
people
awesome. That'll
and
be
hang
great.
out, and they're bringing.
Yeah.
They said they're super competitive and love cornhole, so I think they're bringing some cornhole out. With
There we
like
go.
Online
There we
fan,
go.
A little tournament or something, so it'll be fun.
That's awesome.
So make plans to join us, heightschurch.com, and then click on Easter. We'll get you set up. All right, so John, I mean, this is. Oh, and by the way, I also got a poll going on right now. Jump in. Love to know your thoughts. The question I put out there in the poll today is, which part of the communion story speaks most to you today?
Okay.
So I've asked, is it the past, Jesus' death for me, the present, Jesus' friendship with me, or the future, Jesus' return? Weigh
Yep.
in with that, because that whole story unfolds there
cool.
at the table, which you did such a great job.
Thanks.
Talking
NT
through
Wright,
today.
man.
I mean,
I
he's,
don't deserve any credit today. So
Super
Yeah.
good. I mean, as you were processing, the message this weekend, and I mean, we all are familiar with communion.
Yeah.
I mean, as a pastor, you're really familiar with
Yeah.
communion. What it seemed like it hit you in some fresh ways this week. I mean, what was
Yeah.
it about it for you that just kind of hit you fresh as you got ready for today?
I think the past, present, future piece of it all colliding in that.
Yeah.
So like you celebrate the birthday. Well, of course it's not her birthday today. Like she wasn't born right now. She's 10.
Yeah.
But really it's taking you back to that point, right? And I think like just that reminder of the communion table is back to that empty tomb, right? Back to that me as an enemy of God and me being reconciled. And I think couple that with that's now informing my present, and then that whole future piece to it, like the proclaiming the Lord's death till he comes.
Yeah.
Like it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just such a good. And then I think that the big kind of between the eyes
Yeah.
was the order of Satan entering Judas, and yet he's still at the table. He's invited to the table.
Yeah.
He's treated like the others. Jesus doesn't sit there and go, well, come on, Judas, we know it's you, so
Right.
no bitter herbs for you today.
Right.
You know,
Hey, I
like-
know. I see you over there.
Yeah.
You stand in the back.
You get a plate full of bitter herbs,
Yeah.
Judas. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's none of that. Like the bread goes to him as well.
Yeah.
The wine gets passed and divided to him as well, and he's allowed to recline. That's the piece that, like the posture of freedom.
Yeah.
He's allowed to still sit in that moment, and I think, and maybe this is just church related, but I think often the church really wants to draw this hard line of who communion's for and why you should do it and why you shouldn't, and examine yourself. And hey, I get the conversation, but at the same time, what Jesus gave us is, hey, there's an enemy sitting at the table.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it draws us. This is a little bit uncomfortable for us, but it's this idea that there are enemies of Jesus, there are enemies of God, and
Yeah.
there are friends.
Yeah.
And I mean, the reason Jesus
Yep.
came and what he
Yep.
did on the cross
Yep.
is to address that problem.
Yep.
It's not an insurmountable problem, but it's a problem, right? I mean,
Yep.
and so we got to ask ourselves: am I sitting in this space? Am I an enemy of God, or
Yep.
has Jesus made me
Yep.
God's friend?
Yep.
And it's not a shame or a guilt thing. It's just
Yeah.
a reality of a status that you're in. You got to go, hey, am I a friend of God, or
Yeah.
am I still His enemy?
Yeah.
And that story
Yeah.
rehearsed over and again,
Yeah.
like it brings that into the forefront.
Yeah,
which
and
is
just
powerful.
seeing the Passover story, how absolutely intentional they were with that meal,
Yeah.
and they essentially relived the leaving of Egypt. They relived the wilderness. They relived God's provision and
Oh, yeah.
and I think, just kind of a fresh reminded me, because communion can, like, we hold it very, very dear, but it can be easy to miss. Gosh, I wish we could do a meal. I wish we could actually slow down.
Yeah,
today.
when you boil it down to your Jesus Lunchable,
Yeah.
it's a
Snack pack Jesus.
snack pack Jesus, as you said. That's what, there's reasons for that. I get it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's got a lot of substance
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, and just missing that, I think there's a grieving to missing that, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but there's another thing I was another cool part that didn't make it in, but
Yeah.
so that idea of Jesus, like whether you call it a thank you meal, but the idea of Jesus permeating you and taking thanksgiving to the world, right? Or it's the sharing in common, right?
Yeah.
That would permeate then, and I would now go live sharing in common. I would now go love enemies. I would now, and I think that part is a beautiful picture of communion too, that all these people were just permeated with Jesus.
Yeah.
That we would now go and permeate Jesus
Jesus
to
is
the world.
part of me
Yeah.
and changing me
Yeah.
and fueling me,
Yeah. Yeah.
like food
Yeah.
fuels the body.
Yeah.
Jesus is fueling me as I
Yeah.
go. Yeah, it's wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty powerful. And then you throw in, you did such a nice job highlighting, it's a continuation of that Old Testament story too. Like there's this whole Passover meal and everything has this symbolism. And
Yep.
so well, the Old Testament in a lot of ways, it kind of ends with a cliffhanger because
Yeah.
it sets up, there's like, hey, there's this God, he created
Yeah.
everything. We're accountable to him. He does love us,
Yeah.
but there's rules for engagement with God. And then we all just,
Yeah.
literally the rest of the whole Testament is just like, fail of us
Yeah.
trying to, as humans, to connect with God. And then it's like the end.
Yeah.
Like that's where
and it's
like,
just mic dropping silence, right?
It's like, okay, it's a really sad story.
Yeah.
And then Jesus picks it up with communion and actually just, said, well,
Yeah.
the story's not over.
Yeah.
This is.
I've always
this is
thought the
continuation of that
worst
story.
time to be alive in human history would have been the 400 years of silence.
Oh yeah, that
I
little.
mean, before that, at least you got prophets and you felt like this was going somewhere. But
Yeah.
that 400 years, it was, wait, we're continuing doing what? Why? We haven't heard from this God. We haven't heard from, not that we have.
oh yeah.
God's always been interacting, but what we have recorded is just this 400 years of silence.
Absolutely.
Which-
and we get to turn that page. There's that little Old,
Oh, my
Old
gosh.
Testament, and there's like a page. It's like
Yeah.
the New Testament. We get to flip the page
Yeah.
and go, oh, New
We
Testament.
definitely live in the better part of the story,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
We
Yeah.
really, really
yeah.
do.
We don't think that way, though.
Oh no,
right?
we're like we did. It's
Because
like,
we're like, well, I'd like to live in, maybe the 1800s, or like we're picking out eras that seem cool, or for
like-
whatever reason, like I like to be a gunslinger, and it's like, oh man, we
It's the best
live in a
possible time.
really, really good. We're closer than ever to the return of Jesus.
yeah, and we know more about God than any people
Yeah.
at any point.
Yeah.
Not only because of our
And more
access to information,
accessibility.
but we got
Yeah.
the stories
Yeah.
because it's like there's this guy's story.
Yeah.
All these have stacked up through
You
the
got the
centuries.
you got the journeys of the faith, right?
Exactly.
What do we call Hebrews?
All those, heroes of the faith, and
heroes
then
of
the
the faith,
people
they're-
from, all
Yeah.
the generations after that. All these people
Yeah.
that have loved and followed God. We got all this
Yeah.
track record. We can look back, and there's just no doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. David brought up, this is a good question from David.
Oh boy.
And you know how he is.
And
with
he's
these
he's a deep thinker, man. I'm a little scared.
He refuses
Little
to
scared.
give producer David Mike today.
Okay.
I was trying to get it, but
Was he Mike last week?
Yes.
You were
popped
Mike
in.
last week?
He was mic'd up last week.
Why no Mike this week? It's sitting right
Yeah, I
there.
think he likes Todd better than you. That's my theory.
Don't we all?
Come on, let's be honest. You have better hair, so there's that. But yeah, just kidding. So, but
That's the ultimate low bar win.
I'm just saying. There he is. Is Tim? Are you here, Tim? Yes. Tim. Okay. Time out. So Tim is an online friend visiting us from Northern California today.
Oh, awesome.
And he rolled through. So do you mind? I'm just
No.
gonna do a little. Hey, jump in
Absolutely
and say.
not.
So, Tim, come
Hey,
in
Tim.
here. Come stand right here.
Yes,
For a
heck
second.
yes.
Just we'll make space for you.
Hey, everybody.
And just say hi. So this is Tim. Tim's part
Tim,
of.
how are you?
There's
Nice to meet
John.
you. What part of California?
there we go.
Just south of Sacramento.
Okay. My
And,
sister
we're-
was up there for a while.
Okay, yeah, we're escaping
Okay.
shortly.
Okay.
How many days, weeks, months, and seconds as it is till you come back to
11
Prescott?
months and about 25 days or so.
Wow.
But
Wow.
who's counting? That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So Tim, you're part. We got to know you really well on Wednesday nights. You're part of our Wednesday night group. And I don't know, dude. What? Just real quick, I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but how'd you find Heights? What you doing online? I mean, just give everybody a little taste.
You know, we heard about Heights in several areas, and we came here and loved it. And with COVID, we found online, and we've been watching every week. If we miss it, we catch the YouTube.
That's awesome.
And I honestly think at some point, maybe this goes up on stage. Okay, service is over, but now we're going to really get into some deep stuff, because the sermon was fantastic.
Well, thank you.
It really hit me hard. We're having lunch Tuesday, and I'll tell you a story that'll kind of knock your socks off.
I can't wait.
About remembrance and so forth. And Heights has just been great in the fact that it's so real. I mean, it's real.
We don't have a whole lot of fake.
No.
I don't have a good poker face, I found out.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, hello all our online folks.
We're used to seeing you in the chat.
Yes.
In fact, there's Debbie's in the chat right now saying hi, sweetheart. I
Oh,
mean, she's
hello, honey.
So is she in town with you?
No, she had. We're prepping to sell the house we're in now, and we have contractors there this week. So I'm supposed to do a little bit of eyebrows for her.
Okay, all right.
She knows.
awesome.
Anyway,
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, I know I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but I knew you were here, and I was like, when I saw you back there, I was like, hey, you got to come at least say
Oh,
hi.
for sure.
So, man, I'll see you for lunch.
yes.
This is what happens when you pop into
Tim,
town.
so nice to meet you.
And I highly recommend it if you guys get in here on a Sunday, make a trip. It's great in person too, but it's great online too.
Okay, can I ask you one thing, and then I'll get
Yes.
you out of here.
Let's go.
We always every week have people, that join us online. Some get brave enough to pop in the chat and say hi. You've been one of those people. Then to me, you crossed another bridge. You got brave and jumped into like, hey, I'll hang out with you on a Wednesday night. What would you say? Is there anything you could say to encourage somebody that's thinking, well, I don't, maybe I want to stay anonymous out there and not jump in? What would you say?
Well, I think it goes back to being real. Everybody's real in the online, especially on Wednesday night. I highly recommend it. We get into our breakouts,
Is that the James study?
the James study.
Awesome.
We have all gone through things in our lives, things that we're not proud of, things that we are proud of, things that God has gotten us through, and we're no different than you. And so just be real. It's just everybody goes through things.
Yep.
And maybe it's the age thing, as we were going through James about wisdom. It doesn't have to come with age,
Yep.
but it seems to. But just be real, and just remember, everybody is working through this life, and I'll tell you, the only way to go through it right is seeking Christ. So,
It's a good word.
Well said, my man.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Good. Thanks for
Anyway.
being brave. And I know everybody.
Oh, okay.
There were some people in the back that were like, "Hey, is that Tim back there?" And so that the chat
I didn't know
alerted me.
I thought I was hiding. Sorry.
Don't let Tim go without saying hi.
awesome.
So anyway.
So awesome to get to face-to-face time with you, and I'll see you at Bill's Pizza on Tuesday. We're
Okay,
gonna hang out,
all right.
get a
Hey,
at a
yes.
Prescott,
Getting good pizza.
Prescott hotspot there, Bill's Pizza. We'll see.
Okay, so
Thanks,
anyway,
Tim.
I'm going to let you guys get back to it.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Tim.
Tim.
We'll see you.
Amazing.
soon.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. So, Tim had to come verify, is this actually a real church? Are there real people? Yep. So here we are. You can come hang out with us anytime.
Yeah, we're actually real.
We're actually real, not holograms.
This isn't just David doing some graphic things.
Exactly. And it's cool to see. It's something we worry about a lot. I mean, we talked about this too, like our online friends especially, but for everybody, just that going through life alone, being isolated,
Yes.
getting brave, taking a step, and actually finding out there's a bunch of other real people that
Yeah.
are normal and strugglers in the journey of
Yeah.
life like we all are, and how powerful it can be to discover you've got some friends. So
Yeah.
which is what the online kind of space is all about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think even going back to the table,
Yeah.
they were just real people around the table, because then the next part of that is a dispute breaks out, right?
Yes.
And it's like
Yes.
that. I would hate if a Tim or whoever shows up in person one day and they're like, "Oh, Owen seemed so nice online," or "John seemed normal," and then
meet
I
him in
got there and
person
it
and
was
you're like,
real weird.
Yeah.
Like I hate that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because that's
Like-
exact. Jesus is for real people.
Right.
You don't put on, some kind of front.
Right.
Because we say it so often on here, and he already knows. He
Yeah.
already knows our stuff,
Yeah.
so we might as well just be real with each
Yeah.
other. And that's what Lois is saying right here. We all need each other, and most of all, we need Jesus. Couldn't
Amen
say
to
it
that,
better.
Lois.
Okay, one question to
Is this
to
David's?
launch out. This is
David's
David's.
question?
Back to Dave. Okay, sorry, we had a
Okay.
little departure there. David's question. He brought up how this importance of remembering. I mean, Jesus
Mm-hmm.
went through this whole kind of elaborate setup. The goal was for us to remember Him.
Yeah.
You got any ideas, any tips, any encouragement for us? Like anything someone like me really could build into my life, that would be
Wow.
hey, this is just a little reminder of the story we are in with Jesus that would just pop up. And I don't know. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but that's what David does.
I
with
mean,
this.
maybe it's just where my brain is today, but we eat every day,
Yeah.
right? It was a meal.
Yeah.
And I think I was listening to somebody recently, and it was actually a message out of COVID, where in a part of the country he couldn't get to church, and they weren't allowed to go to church. Like it was the whole weird part of the world.
Yep.
And when everything's just shut down, and he was encouraging families, hey, you sit and have a meal with your family every day.
Yeah.
This need that we have for this remembering this, it can happen every single day in a very practical way that's not. So I think, there's all kinds of practical stuff like, notes to yourself around spaces you find where you just need hey, when I'm driving, and I don't have this, but like I've seen people do it, like when I'm driving, I tend to be road ragey, right? And so
Other people.
well, I don't. You know what? I've mellowed out a lot.
Yeah.
John of a decade ago, and it wasn't I was road ragey. I just wanted to beat you there.
Yeah, it was
right?
more
So
just
I'm
competitive.
yeah,
That's where the F1 now takes that place in your life. That's
pretty
good.
much,
That's
pretty
good.
much. But like I've seen people put something on their dash to remind them who they are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's other ones that it's notes. Like for me, I still have. I talked about this in a message years ago. I think it was 3 years ago or 2 years ago. My wife wrote me Valentine's notes and stuck them on my mirror. If you go in my house today, they're still there.
I love that.
And it's just a reminder of how she feels about me and what she thinks of me. And so I think going back to the remembering thing, I think it's the home screen on your phone. I think you've got to build in what makes sense for you that puts you in a posture to remind yourself of who we really are.
Yeah.
And what really matters.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Well, there you go, guys. On that note,
Not super helpful, David, but there you go.
I think that's pretty good. I mean, he was talking about his family for a different purpose. They got, it's eye level at the refrigerator. You got a little Post-it note.
Yep.
It's on the mirror. It's
Yep.
it is, people put an alert on your phone. You want a reminder.
Yep.
Tell Siri to remind you every day
Yep.
at X time.
So this is true.
know?
This is true that it might even be on my phone right now. There you go.
Okay.
There's one of them.
There you go. There's
So
a prayer.
every
Just a
day,
little-
every day at 7 a.m. There's 3 or 4 people that I've said I would do this with,
Yeah.
and so at 7 a.m. those 4 pop up, and it's to pray for those 4 individuals.
There you go.
Just because otherwise I get going and lose it. So
That stuff makes a big difference. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just the reminder. It's like we know,
yeah,
but it's like we need to experience.
Yeah.
And the experience comes from just that
Yeah.
little reminder in those moments. Hey,
yeah, and we
Jesus.
just forget, right? Like honestly, we get going with our day, and it's so natural to forget. To get to the end of the day and go, oh man, I didn't think about that once.
Yep.
Yep.
You got it. You
So-
got it. Well, there we go, John. Thanks for hanging out with us. Online fam, going through the chat one more time. Looks like
Diana King
Oh yeah, she said she saw you
She was
last
there
night.
last night.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
Which is awesome. She's
She's
actually
yeah.
saying, "Hey, Saturday night
That's what
Park
reminded me.
Collective,"
Her note reminded me.
which is a great reminder.
It was
too.
so good to see her, dude.
She was
so
pumped.
good to see
She
her.
actually sent me a text. She's like, "I was at Park Collective last
Yeah.
night. I got to see people."
Yeah.
I
It
was
was
like,
cool to see
"That
her."
is what it's all about."
Yep.
Love that. So yeah, Saturday night. There's ways to connect with us in person. Not only Easter, but every week. There's ways to do that. Find out more about us as a church and those times and spaces. Go to heightschurch.com.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Sorry, just
Yeah.
speaking of Easter. What are you most excited for as the online family pastor
Yeah.
leader? What are you most excited for Easter for yourself with the online family? Which one are you looking forward to most?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love. It's kind of like I'm looking forward to getting like the different online circles together, because it's kind of like online's a little. It's got some different pieces to it. There's like
Yeah.
our online tribe here on weekends. There's like the midweek little online tribe. There's Baghdad people that no one else has met.
Yep.
There's the Paulden crew, and they're all online, but they're like different little circles that I get to spend time with all of them, but they don't all get to spend a lot of time together. And so I'm kind of it feels
cool.
like a it feels like a wedding reception or something. You know how you get your wedding, you know, it's like all these people from different parts of your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like your dad sitting next to your college buddy or, you know,
Yeah.
like all that.
Yep.
And I'm excited about online being that and just everybody just realizing how many friends and like-minded people that they have in their life that they don't even know about, they haven't met, but we're all
super
in this
cool.
together. So I'm pumped about that. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait to see it.
And I think we'll be, you know, there could be some friendly competition possibly popping up out there between the different little tribes, you know? Baghdad versus Paulden versus, you know, online.
Okay.
So there could be. I'm looking
Little-
forward to
little
it.
competition.
You know me, I'm an instigator at the core of my being. So
Yeah.
we're gonna definitely have to start.
And you know
kinda-
human nature, everybody's just competitive.
I mean, so it's gonna be fun. I like that. Oh, somebody puts out here reminders, real quick. They like that lock screen on their phone. Great ideas. Jeannie says my license plate is Psalm 94. Keeps me mindful of who I represent while I'm driving. I'm not that strong, Jeannie.
I'm not touching that
strong.
one.
I'm not that strong.
It's too funny.
Ray says Heights Cross on the car reminded me to drive worthy of him. There you go. So John,
There you
there's
go.
ways to, you know, fight that.
There you
Please
go.
don't put a Christian sticker on your car and be a terrible driver.
Don't be a terrible human being.
Don't be a terrible
That's
human
like
being.
that's like the guy. That's like the guy, and I don't know. I don't know anybody, so I'm not speaking about anybody in particular. But you know the guy that wears the big bold Jesus shirt, but then is chewing out the waitress.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh buddy,
Don't be.
buddy.
It's better to go incognito. You know, hey, we're all in progress. We're not here to judge, but just don't go ahead and wear it. Don't plant the flag.
I will
and
say
then
this. I will say
be
this.
that
This
guy.
happened with me. Bert Hunt, if you're listening, you're amazing because I got this from you and I loved it. So I was at lunch with Bert one day, and I know we were in
you're
wrap up
good.
mode, and I'm right back in. But
I tried, people. I tried.
But I was with Bert at lunch one day, and he did something I've never seen somebody do. When the waitress came with the food, he just paused for a minute and he goes, "Hey, we're going to pray for our food. Is there anything we can pray for you for?" And it was the
That's cool.
coolest moment with the waitress who, you know, chatted about something going on with her family. And Bert then faithfully prayed for it. I was just like, that's
awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, for reminders and stuff like that, I just thought it was
Also, do that and then leave a decent tip.
yes, do not,
Please.
do not.
Please. There you go. Now we're just out here, just people fighting, making angry at us. There we go. All right. But true story. Love that. Love those reminders. Diana is our moderator today. She's online. She's saying, looking forward to seeing everybody on Easter. So yeah, make a plan.
Yes.
If you want to be, you know, sit with us and kind of like, I want to save you a seat, but I got to know you're coming. Make sure I got a seat for you there at Watson Lake on Easter. So if you haven't already, sign up for our online family update list. I'll shoot out an email here early this week with an RSVP where you can just let me know you're coming. To do that, just go to our website, heightschurch.com/online, and then tap on the button right there to join the email list. With Richard, as we head out, he says, I had to take the Jesus fish off my car so I wouldn't be a bad witness. There you go.
He's Red Bull Racing.
Now he's back to just putting Red Bull Racing on there. That's perfect. All right, my friends, with that, much love and thanks for joining us. Thanks to David, our producer today. Upstairs, we had Rachel shadowing audio with
Oh,
Too
that's
Tall
awesome.
Justin up there.
That's
so shout
amazing.
out to both you guys.
Yes.
The crew here that creates a space for us to gather. Thanks to John, our guest earlier today. Phil came on and gave us some free counseling advice. Found out he's a counselor and he plays guitar.
He's amazing. Phil's awesome.
So we got some
Yeah.
free advice on handling our family coming up on Easter, which was solid.
I saw his girl dad shirt.
Yeah, which was he's good. He was a good dude. We had fun. I think he was like nervous, but it worked out. He said he's an introvert.
David, you're buddies with Phil. You guys hang out.
Yeah. He said I was draining him of his energy because he's an introvert.
And isn't
But-
Phil the one that helped build the Christmas mantle? Yeah.
Oh,
Little
there's a
woodworker.
woodworking. We didn't even get to woodworking.
You gotta have him back for
or
woodworking.
tacos. I heard those are his two other things.
Tacos. Okay.
So we'll get Phil back.
I didn't know about tacos.
It was pretty good. So on that note, thanks to everybody. Thanks to you for joining us. We'll see you all week long online, on social. Join our email list. If nothing else, be sure to make plans to join us next week. 10 o'clock Arizona time. We'll be right here once again. Most of all, remember, my friend, you are so loved. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Yeah, he came on and I was like, he's like, yeah, I'm a counselor. I was like, okay, well, we were going to talk about tacos, but let's talk about hanging
Let's
out with
talk
your
about-
family at Easter instead. Some of us need some tips. Perfect. Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Appreciate you,
Great
bud.
job. Thanks, Owen. Great job.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks for put a little extra energy into the thing here at the end when you're about out of energy. So thanks.
That's good. It's always fun. It's always easy.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so Tim popped. He